transportation costs, and he's outlined all the costs of that fuel. And all we got to do is divide it into the number of tons and come up with a percentage. It's really pretty simple. And Paul did not use a consultant to do that. So I find that difficult. Back to the privatization, though, that was what the administration is supposed to do. I want them to do rate adjustments and those kinds of things, not actually do the putting it out to consulting bid. That's what we want to save that money and use your people in your administration to do that. So I don't see the reasonableness of going forward with that. Regarding South Coast service rates, $4,300. We bid on that franchise 18 months ago. Paul did go out to Hilton Farncroft, come up with a nice proposal. They made us bid on a 20 cubic yard dumpster. All these 1 can, 35 gallon can, whatnot. Didn't have anything for a 40 yard drop box or a 50. So I presented a few rates, additional rates that weren't in the Exhibit B of the franchise agreement to the solid waste division. They want to spend $4,300 to see if a three or four rates are fair. All you have to do is just look at our other rates in the county and say that seems very reasonable. Anderson Valley, $4,385 to do a reasonableness test there. Do you realize, supervisors, that I do not have a franchise agreement for Anderson Valley? Expired June of last year because we haven't had any we've been operating without a franchise agreement. But that Exhibit B to that franchise agreement that hopefully will go into effect in July is the same rates that we're charging today. All you got to do is look at it from last year to this year. Simple. So I don't understand the difficulty of this. You saw a number up there, $7,000 for contract administration fees that we pay to the County Solid Waste Division for contract administration for the 3 entities. 8 years, that's over $60,000. What has happened with that money? What do they do with that money? If you're really looking out for the ratepayer, charge zero. What have you done last year for $7,000? Nothing. Nothing. And it's 25 cents a ton, so every year it goes up. MSWA has offered to do contract administration fees for zero. We could lower the tipping fee tomorrow by 25 cents a ton. They said they take on that responsibility. That's what I thought the contract administration fee went towards, is for the solid waste department to look at those kinds of things and not send it out to a contract. I'm sorry.
Supervisor Delbert?
I have a quick question, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ward, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. In regard to Anderson Valley, you do not have a franchise agreement?
Contract expired June 17th, 2007.
So almost a year ago. Mr. DeShio?
We're way behind. And like I said before, we went through quite a staff turnaround, and I won't get into why there was a delay in even filling the position for a good number of months. It sounds to me like the future of where this is going is county just trust the private sector, give them what they want, and rubber stamp the thing. And I won't do that. Operationally, our staff does spend time. They're as careful and considerate as they are, but we don't have all of these expertise. I don't try to do a portion of an engineering design that I'm not capable of. I might be able to do a part of it, but the part I don't understand, I feel like I need to go to someone who does.
Well, first of all, if I may, Mr. Chairman, Mr. DeShio, I take exception to your response.
Okay.
Personally, I do not rubber stamp anything that the private sector brings forward in my mind.
Okay.
And I wouldn't expect that from you either, but I take exception if that's the belief that you're garnering from the conversations today.
Okay.
That said, the reasonableness test, this doesn't pass it for me. I mean, Joe Schmo on the street can tell you diesel prices have gone up. To spend $5,000 to come up with that conclusion, I mean, there's some very smart gentlemen and ladies working in your department, and if they can't figure what that surcharge should be, then we've got other bigger issues I think we've got to deal with. We're not talking engineering a bridge. We're not talking the complex water rights of the state of California. We're talking what is a reasonable surcharge. we all know, to me, those are two completely different animals here. If we're trying to build a bridge over a waterway and having to get the water to do it, then I would say, yeah, maybe it makes sense. And it makes sense to hire a consulting firm when we're doing an entire franchise agreement, which is what we did last time we hired Hilton and Hyatt and whatever their names are. This is a surcharge on fuel. To me, it's not brain surgery. And I have full faith and confidence in the folks in your department to figure out what that number is. And it, to me, the reasonableness test fails on this one for me. It's not a rubber stamping. It's simply, I think we have the resources in the government side to do that.
I can tell you that my staff is already working long hours. Our manager is working, our one accountant CPA we have, again, Scott Miller's new, he's doing a great job, but hasn't, a new director. I just really feel like we need the extra help, and our staff doesn't have extra time to commit. We're behind on many other department matters in the accounting field.
Supervisor Colfax.
This discussion is, I think, not entirely appropriate. I think we say all the time, let our managers manage. And when I hear from our manager, particularly this manager, say, I need this, it's appropriate, and so forth, for us to step up and say what we could do with a telephone call or do this or that, I think probably oversimplifies the issue to a very high degree. I would support the item before us. It was on consent. It's been pulled, and I think we've pretty much heard the head of transportation express his concerns, and I would move that we go forward with that request.
And that is a motion.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Second.
And there is a second. Discussion to the motion. Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, I call for the vote on the motion to approve the recommended action. That's before us. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
No. So, motion fails on a 3-2 vote. What's further action of the board on this issue?
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend to have our solid waste division in consultation with the CEO's office. We have the best experience in the world there to do what we done a couple of years ago. I mean, it's...
If I might, Mr. Chair,
Wait a minute, Paul. Let me finish here. First of all, what we did in the past, we didn't have a $9 million deficit facing us. And we have your expertise. I hope it's still available, whether you work in the CEO's office or the janitor. We need to utilize the abilities that we have in this county. And clearly, you have the ability to help on this issue. That's putting it simple. And it's $20,000. That's the difference of maybe funding our library, keeping a library open, or funding the Arts Council. That's what we're down to here in this county. Yeah, it's easy to hire a consultant. It really is. It gets it off your desk into someplace else. But we got to change the way we're doing business, or we're not going to be able to continue to do business.
Okay, so...
Second. We made a motion.
Oh, we did make a motion?
Yeah, to direct this CEO's office in conjunction with solid waste division to do the fuel surcharge study.
Okay, which is basically the alternative motion as recommended. And there is a second. Discussion to the issue. Mr. Kaler, did you have a comment?
yeah, if I was working as the janitor, maybe, I'd be better off right now. I was in this weekend working